need a computer. Number two, you need a microphone.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go.
I thought I would just jump on here. Little NFP special live stream. Let's do it. How are you guys doing? How are we? Are we good? Cool. Let me just share this link with everybody in the Discord. Let me just do that over here, right here. I think we're good. This is my first YouTube live stream, so welcome. You know, we were doing Google Meeting live streams, but we were hitting the limit. We were hitting the max limit. So I thought we're going to venture out to YouTube. We're going to see what YouTube has to offer. Today's going to be great. It's an NFP special. It's going to be great. So let me just share this link with everybody in the Discord. Cool. Yeah, welcome guys. How are we all doing? Happy Fridays and all of that jazz, right? Happy Fridays. Let's take a look at what we have in store for us. You know, what do we have in store for us, right? So if I just open Forex Factory right here, yeah, as we know, like there's a lot of government shutdowns, the US government shutdowns, right, which are certainly impacting a lot of fundamental events, right? So let's see. The plan is always like when we have a scheduled NFP, the plan is always. We wait for NFP. We wait 15 minutes after the release of NFP. And then if the conditions are correct and the rules line up and everything is there, then we're going to be taking a trade. Right? So, yeah, we had an amazing London session. How do I sound, guys? Do I sound okay? Because like I've not gone live on YouTube before. This is the first one. Hopefully it's a big one. Sure, we can run through the daylight session timings. We sound good. Happy days. Happy days. Sound is perfect. All right. Good stuff. Okay. I think let's just start with, let's take a quick look at gold and US 500. As you guys know, that's what we trade. Right? So we trade gold, we trade US 500. It's pretty much just these two assets that we trade, because this is where we have the edge. You know, yes, the system works on other assets. You know, yes, the mechanical rules-based system that we all trade and we all love, right? Yes, it works on some FX pairs as well, and the likes of the German DAX and some other assets as well. But it works amazingly well on gold and amazingly well on US 500. It's almost like we don't need anything else. And I don't mean that in like a big-headed way, right? But it's often a case when you start when you start trading like many assets, right, you often get overwhelmed, or certainly I do. I feel very overwhelmed. I feel like I have so much to do. You're trying to look at all of these different assets and these, liquidity sweeps and everything together. And I often feel very, very overwhelmed. So I think sticking to one or two assets is very sensible. It seems to, be what has worked for me over the 8 years of my trading. And so that's what I will continue to do. Right. So what we're going to be doing, just so this is very, very clear, is, as we know, NFP is scheduled for the first Friday of every month. Okay. And due to like the US and the government shutdowns, we don't know if this is going to be released today. Okay. So what it's down as tentative, which means like it may come out, but if it doesn't come out at 1:30, you're not it's not coming out. Right. So either it comes out at when I say 1:30, I mean UK time, but Eastern time is maybe more universal. So that would be 8:30 Eastern. Right? So either NFP comes out at 8:30 Eastern, or it does not, and then we trade as normal, business as usual, right? So the plan is going to be wait at least 30 minutes or so to see if NFP comes out. Often, as we know, NFP is the news event that will create the manipulation. Okay, so until like around 30 minutes time, we don't really have much work to do. But I can still lay out the game plans, the trade plans, and still what we're going to be looking for after quote unquote NFP, right? So I think let's start with US 500. We had a banger trade this morning on US 500. Who caught this, by the way? Who caught this? You cannot hear me? Some people are saying they can't hear me. Type yes if you can hear me. Oh, you can hear? All right, cool. So I'm not just like blindly talking to myself. All right, who caught this, by the way? Let's get some W's in the chat. Who caught this morning? Who caught this morning? Yeah? I think a lot of you guys would have. I think a lot of you guys would have took this morning. So, if you traded the London session, for sure. We got a lot of W's in the chat. So that is a sign to me that a lot of people took this trade. But if you did not take this trade, don't get emotional, right? Let's quickly break it down, and then we're going to look at the trade plans for NFP and what we're sort of going to be expecting today, right? So if I just pop this over here, okay, your voice is reverberating. You're not the first person to say that. That's weird. Too many wishes and cigars. I don't know. Let me know how it as we go. Let me know if it continues doing that. I don't know why it would be doing that. Sounds good. All right, cool. Let's crack on. Right. So let's break it down. This morning, what did we have? Right. US 500, 50, 100, 200 EMA. What does that indicate to us, guys? What does that indicate to us? Right. We have the 50 on the bottom, 100 in the middle, 200 on the top. What's the bias here? You guys know this better than me at this point, right? What's the bias here? You tell me, guys, what's the bias? I need to know. Bearish bias, right? Bearish bias, right? So, before we even turn up to the session, right, if we just play this back, before we even turn up to the session, the London session, we already have a bias. Literally 1 second, we have a bias. We know what we want to be looking for. 1 second, right? So this is often like one of the hardest things that, or certainly a very common question that I always get asked, which is, what's the bias today? Or how do I work out my bias? Or do I use market structure? Like there's many different ways, and this is why so many people go wrong. But if you can just have a way, and I'm not saying that this is the best way. I'm not saying this is the only way to work out a bias, right? But one thing I am saying is like this is mechanical. This is rules based. This is very simple, and it does take all of the guesswork out. Okay, so I'm not saying that my way is the best way, not at all, right? It probably isn't, but it works for me, right? So you got it, guys. Sell bias. What are we looking for? Well, we need to see a manipulation above a previous session's high. What do we have right here? Right, Asia high. What have we done? What have we done right here? At the start of the London Open. So we have the London Open at 3 a.m. Eastern. The first 15 minutes, what does it do? Liquidity rate, right? This is the manipulation right here. So what this is going to be doing is 2 things. Number 1, okay, this is going to induce traders long. This is number 1. This is like probably the most important. Number 2 is this is going to stop out early sellers. Okay, so that's what this is doing. That's what this manipulation is doing, right? It's doing these 2 things. It's inducing traders long, thinking that this is a breakout to the upside, thinking that the market's going to go higher, getting them on the sort of wrong side of the market, right? Inducing a lot of buyers. A lot of buyers, right? What this will also do is stop out early sellers. So if you are positioned from Asia, right, where's your stop loss? Right? Where's your stop loss? I'm not saying I know exactly where somebody's stop loss is because I don't, but I know roughly that it's going to be in these sort of areas above these previous sessions highs, right? Like some traders may have had stop losses above this minor structure, above this swing high, and they're getting stopped out all the way up, right? And what we know about that is what this does really is what provides the liquidity and fuel to actually move the market, right? We need to see a lot of people on the wrong side of the market. We need to see people getting stopped out because this forces them to buy, right? Because if you're short and you get stopped out, guess what? You've got to buy. You've got to buy, right? So that's what this does. That's what this does. And then what do we get? We get the 15-minute bearish confirm during a kill zone, right? 3:15 a.m. Eastern. That candle closed at 3:30. Enter. My entry is always on the break of the low. So we don't enter on the closures, as we know, right? We don't enter on this closure. We enter on the break of the low via either a sell stop. So via a sell stop, or if you're watching the markets visually, like if you have a bit more time, then you can just market execute. You can just market execute as we break the low, and you're going to be tagged short. It's not as simple as this, though. What happened? We got this pretty nasty drawdown, right, of around 50% towards the stop loss. Where stop loss is above manipulation high, this is when you're wrong. And it's just a case of allowing it to play out. Allowing it to play out, right? As we know, we need to essentially set and forget our trades, right? We don't marry a trade. We don't get attached to trades. Just allow them to play out. just allow them to play out, right? And so this did hit take profit sort of around 2 hours hold time for this one. Beautiful trade. Beautiful, beautiful trade. Cool. Okay, I'm just gonna update the community. Just bear with, guys. One moment. Okay, so let me just try. I want to hear my own voice to see how it sounds. It's probably the better way to do this. It doesn't sound great. It doesn't sound great, to be honest, guys. It doesn't sound like it's coming through the microphone. I don't know. Sounds good. What's my Discord? I'll put a link to it. I'll put a link to it right here, and I will pin it to the community. 1 second. Right here. So I'll pin this. This is the free community. So I've pinned it to the top. We're all good. All right, cool. I'll take your word for it, guys. I'll take your word for it. Pop this in as well. Oh, you can only have one pinned message. Okay. Cool. Cool. So let me take a look here. Let me take a look at what's going on today. So we've looked at, what happened this morning. A lot has already happened today. So yeah, let's take a look at let's look at today. Let's look at actionable trades today, right? Cool. What about the salt water? For anybody who was in the last stream, right, about the salt water? Who's drinking salt water now? That's the question. Who's drinking pink Himalayan salt water? I forgot mine. I'm disappointed. Okay, let's keep it moving. Here. So let's look at today. Let's look at today, right? So let's just make this quite small. All right. So again, the bias is still bearish. 50, 100, 200 EMA. Okay. So the bearish is bias. We're not then going to be flipping bullish, right? Yes, we've had one trade. Yes, we've seen price sell off quite aggressively, but we still have the sell bias. The momentum is still to the downside, right? Like, why would anybody want to long this? Like, look, momentum, top left to bottom right, right? Like a 2-year-old could tell you what the direction is here, right? So we're going to be staying with the bias is what I'm trying to say, right? Okay, cool. So we have the London high. what we're going to be looking for during New York, right? We're going to need to see price come above the London high. Once we see this manipulation, we can think about potentially getting short in this market. Okay. So really, for US 500, the only actionable area of interest is this one right here. So coming in around 6746, depending on your broker, but it's the London high, right? So if and only if price comes above here, manipulates above London, then we can look at shorting this. Again, we can look at shorting this again, right? So yeah, the expectation, which often happens, is that so high impact, red folder USD news, this often is what creates the manipulation. Okay. So whenever like you're turning up to the markets and you're like, and you see that we have like red folder news, okay, the expectation and what you're always should be thinking is that red folder news is going to come out, and this is often what creates the manipulation, like so. And then what happens is kind of the dust settles, the panic is over, and we start selling off. Okay. Does this have to happen? Not at all. Will this happen? I have no idea. But at least that's the plan. And at least you have a plan heading into the New York session. That is what is important, right? Because heading into a trading session without a plan is a one-way trip. I have Himalayan salt in my fridge that I drop in my water. It's the future. Now we're talking, right? Talk to me. As we know, we're going to be shorting sodium today. We're going to be full margin shorting sodium. Yeah. So that is not financial advice, guys. Please know that. Please know that. So anyway, in terms of the system, in terms of how we trade, what do? Well, we set an alert to the London high. Okay. So we set an alert to the London high, and then if this alert goes off, we're going to be monitoring more closely, right? If this alert does not go off, well, we have no work to do. We have no work to do, right? And this is where so many traders go wrong. Like, do you have the discipline and the patience to have a no trading session, right? If price does not get up here and you don't have a trade, are you okay with this? Because you need to be. You really need to be, right? So let me just send this over. All right. Okay, so that's US 500 boxed off. Everybody good with this? Does anybody have any qualms about the plan? If so, let me know. If so, let me know. What's the gist with the Himalayan salt? It's good for hydration. It's good for hydration, right? It's yeah, especially first thing in the morning. A liter gets you hydrated. There's a lot of electrolytes, a lot of essential minerals, right? Gets you going. Some people are saying the quality's poor, but from what I can see, I literally have one of my amazing one-on-one students. His name is Gav, right? And he's watching it on a pretty large screen, and it seems to be looking okay. So I don't know, maybe it's your own internet. That's my guess. But shout out Gav. Shout out Gav. Trading is calm since joining Momentum Mastery, for sure. That's how it should be, right? Like it should be chill. Trading should not be stressful. Trading should be quite relaxed, right? And you should know the plan. And to be honest, I think a lot of the stress comes from not having a plan. Like a plan equals calm. That is what I've realized, right? But that's a very common thing that a lot of my students tell me is, I came into the program or I came into the community and I was pretty, let's say stressed out or quite emotional, and now all of a sudden I'm very calm. Right? So this is a very common outcome of trading a mechanical rules-based system, right? So yeah, we have, let's call it NFP, quote unquote, in around 10 minutes. So we're going to see what happens then. My guess is it does not come out, but who knows? I'm probably wrong. All right, so we've boxed off US 500, ES, right? Let's take a look at gold. Let's take a look at gold, right? So for gold, the only option for me now is, can we take out Asia? All right, so the bias is bullish. We have the 50. So 50, 100, 200 EMA. Clearly very bullish in this market. Momentum is to the upside. We've seen this form of manipulation, right? So if I mark this on very clearly, we have the London low. We've took this out. What have we seen though, right? We've had manipulation, we've had a pullback, and we've had continuation. So this, if you take this trade based on this London manipulation, this manipulation here, this is not an A plus trade. So I want to make that very clear. This is not an A plus trade right here. If you take it based on this London manipulation. Why? Because this is what the market's telling you, right? We saw the first manipulation here. We had buyers try to step in. We then saw sellers take control. Buyers tried to step in again, and sellers have just took control. Okay, so we've seen 2 times where buyers have tried to step in and they've failed. So what that basically tells you is, is this now going to be the one? And my sort of outcome is, I do not trust this. Okay, I do not trust this one bit, because buyers have showed their hand twice, once, twice, and failed, right? So why is it going to work the third time? Why should I trust that it's going to work the third time? I don't, right? So yeah, this is not valid for me to take it from. I would need to see a fresh liquidity sweep, a fresh manipulation below Asia low, and then we can think about potentially getting long in this market. Okay, so if and only if we see this below here, then we have an option. If we don't see that, we don't have an option and we have a no trading day. It's as simple as that, right? Yeah, buyers are asleep. That's not a bad way to look at it. It's like saying, yeah, there's just a lack of intention. There's a lack of intention from buyers here after manipulating, right? Because as we know, right, there's a lot of fuel below the session lows. So a lot of liquidity, right? So if buyers are going to continue, they shouldn't be messing around, which is basically what's happening here. And what this basically tells you as a trader is, like, price is more likely to range here or actually go lower. So what that basically means, right, so price is more likely to range or go lower, is that the probabilities have changed. All right. So if we look at today's US 500 trade, right, like look how clean this price action is. Clean manipulation, clean confirmation. Everything looks so clean after manipulating, right? After manipulating. So this is the difference. This is what separates a trade from like an A plus trade to like a, a trade that has a lower probability of success. All right. And then so the question is, do you have the discipline to filter these trades? Or are you just going to take everything and take hundreds of trades every single week, right? So it's important to have a sort of filter to know what is A plus, what is not A plus, which trades are worth really risking capital with conviction on, right? Cool. So yeah, we got around 6 minutos until NFPOs, or maybe not NFPOs, who knows? But let's see. Let's see, right? A lot of trading is just doing nothing. Can you do nothing? Can you enjoy doing nothing? It's pretty hard, right? Pretty hard. So, yeah. Let me read the chat. Let me read the chat here. So here's a question. After the liquidity raid, do you wait for a 15-minute closure and then the entry is the break of the 15-minute closure? That's right. That is right. So for example, this trade right here, we have the closure right here, entries on the break of the low, right? Because this is showing intention from sellers, right? So the confirm, this is your confirm, but until we break the low of a confirm, this could easily just keep continuing higher. Like this could just be like a one candle pullback. We close here, we open up, and then we start pushing higher. And that's the risk when you enter on the closure is if this is going to continue higher, well, it's probably not going to break the low, and momentum's going to step in, and this is going to take this higher. All right. You're also going to be getting like a second lower low. So if I zoom in, this is your first lower low. And as we break this low, this is your second lower low. Okay. So I know without even dropping down to the smaller time frame that we're going to have sort of bearish market structure forming on the lower time frame. Okay. And that's why we can sort of enter based on the 15-minute without having to look at the smaller time frame, because we know it's going to be bearish based on the break of this low, and also breaking this low here and these lows here and this low here, right? We know without dropping down that this is already bearish. This is already shifting, right? So I think that's one of the beauties of this system, in the fact that you don't need to be on the 1 minute or the 5 minute or anything low, right? We can keep it very relaxed and very chilled on the 15-minute, right? Sure. Let me recap the like while we're waiting for NFP. Let me just show you the session indicator. It's this one right here. So if you type in Sonar, so trading sessions hyphen Sonar Lab, it's this one. It's this one. You can use any one that you want. This is the one that I use, right? And your settings, set this to GMT. So when you open it up, set it to GMT, Asia, 11 till 4. So 2300 till 4, right? And I want to make it clear, this is UK time, But don't worry about it because it automatically translates over to the correct time zone that you're looking at, right? So Asia 2300 to 4, London 8 till 10, and New York 1 till 3:15. Okay, and this will be the case until March 2026. So you will not need to amend this indicator until March 2026. So if you set it today, you can forget it until March. Cool. This strategy works on all assets, but it works very well on gold and very well on US 500. Like I have students that trade multiple assets, right? Or more than two assets. But me personally, I just trade these two assets. It's more than enough for me. 3 A plus trades a week. 3 A plus trades per week. This is what we get on average, right? Some months are going to be more, some weeks more, some weeks less. On average, 3 a week. 3 a week, right? More than enough. Way more than enough. So let's see. Let's wait and see. So we got NFP in around 30 seconds. Let's see if it gets released. If not, it might just be business as usual. But let's see. So we have a few seconds. My guess is it does not come out, but even like even a few weeks back when, oh no, that would have been a month ago. A month ago, like the last NFP, it didn't come out, but we still got some very aggressive moves. So maybe we get that as again, right? Who knows? Who knows? Do, 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 do. Less is more, absolutely. That is 100% the case. You know, some people think they need like hundreds of trades. They need like at least a trade a day. That's one of the common things. You know, people get on here, they're like, how many trades do you have a day? That's already a red flag. When a student asks this, or, you know, maybe not a student, but when somebody asks this, this is a red flag to me. How many trades do you have a day? You know, this is not what you want to see. This is often somebody with like a very short-term mindset. They want things fast, you know? So yeah, my guess is like NFP didn't come out here. I don't think it came out, which is fine, right? It just means business as usual. It just means we have the plans. We look back at gold here, right? This is the plan, right? So we had a lack of intention from buyers right here, which to be honest is probably due to like the uncertainty around NFP. Okay. So something that you're going to have to be mindful of is if we do see this plan, if gold does continue lower and takes out this Asia low, what do the EMAs do? Right? Do they stay in order? Do they cross over? You know, so these are things that you need to be mindful of, right? So from my years of trading this system, what I would say here is the EMAs are fairly close together, right? So what we kind of need to see is like a pretty fast manipulation. So something where we just dump down very aggressively. So then the EMAs still stay in order. And then we get our confirmation and they are in order at the time of confirmation. And then we're going to be good to go. So I would say we need to see a pretty quick manipulation on gold for this to be valid, right? Cool. What would you guys say is like the biggest sort of problem that you're facing with your trading? What would you say like the one thing? Like if you had to say like the one thing that maybe you struggle with the most, what would you say that one thing is? I'm curious. I'm curious. There's often like a multitude of reasons why like somebody's a losing trader or have these problems, right? But yeah, let me know. Let me know. What would you say is like the kind of one thing? Sitting on your hands? It's a good point. It's a good one. And that's one of the reasons why I started the live streams, because it's like when it's boring, that's when you're going to make mistakes. When it's boring, that's when you need to sit on your hands. You know, that's a really, really good one. And like, how do you deal with that? Right? A lot of it is having conviction. So, like, to deal with sitting on your hands, often due with it's often to do with conviction in your trade or your system or your strategy. Okay, so this is often like the most common place where this problem arises. Do you believe in the system, or do you believe in your own system or your own plan? Right? Without the belief in a system, you're going to overtrade. You're going to get emotional. You know, if you don't believe in a system, it's very hard to follow it. You have 2, 3 losing trades in a row, and what do people do? What do people do, right? The strategy hop. Right. So this is the thing that I've found from certainly 8 years of trading, is a lot of it comes from, it's not about the system. It's not about how good the system is. It's about, do you believe in the system? This is like number one. And if you believe in a system and you have the conviction, this will prevent you from strategy hopping. Okay. So strategy hopping is like a result of a lack of conviction. You don't just strategy hop for no reason, right? Because of this. Yeah, and I used to do this like all the time. You know, like I would think that I'd back test the system, I'd see the data and it works, right? You have the data, and then 2 losing trades, 3 losing trades. What do? Strategy hop. You look at the next system, and that cycle repeated for me for like 4 years. So as long as if I can just prevent somebody from strategy hopping one time, I'm happy. But for me, that lasted at least 4 years, right? Yeah, that's the thing. And when you have the data, so um, if you feel the urge of like, oh, this doesn't work, or you feel the urge of strategy hopping or jumping to the next system or whatever, you need perspective, right? And the only way to get this is looking at the data. Okay. So if you look at your data, you're like, okay, this does work. You look at the data and you're like, I have losing streaks in the data. right? So often it's to kind of correct yourself and to show your mind kind of what is normal. And losing streaks are normal. 3, 4 losses in a row is normal, right? The maximum that I've seen with this system is around like 6 to 7 losses in a row. Okay. So the first thing is, are you okay with that? Are you okay with losing 6 trades in a row? 7 trades in a row? Because you should be, otherwise you shouldn't be trading it, right? Um, so yeah, it's important, to talk about wins and everything, but often the downside is more important. Like, what is the risk here? What could be the potential drawdown? Like, if we, go into a drawdown tomorrow and touch wood, that doesn't happen, because we're on a bit of an amazing streak at the moment, right? We had that 5-win streak. We have had a couple winners in a row the last couple trades, right, on the streams. And so we're on an amazing streak. Does this have to continue? Not at all. Could we start a losing streak tomorrow? Absolutely. Are you okay with that? These are questions that you need to ask yourself, right? It's important to know your risk. So if you know your risk and you know your drawdown, and then what you can do is reverse engineer your drawdown into your risk. Your drawdown into your risk, right? So like if you know your max drawdown is like say 7 in a row, seven or drawdown is 7%, well, it's probably sensible to use around 1 or 2% risk, or maybe even less, right? Certainly I lean towards being conservative with 1% or less, but it depends how aggressive you want to be, right? But ultimately the drawdown is what you use to reverse engineer your risk, right? Because different systems should have different risks because they have different drawdowns, right? Cool. So gold is chilling. We're starting to maybe break this low. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Take a look at US 500. Still sort of chilling here. So yeah. Where is NFP? NFP didn't come out today. NFP didn't come out today because of the US shutdowns in the government, right? So it's weird. It's almost like they're trying to hide something. It's almost like, that they're trying to hold back this data, because surely they could release it. Surely they could, right? So, you know, it's it seems like something's brewing and on sort of the bigger picture, right? God bless you, Liam. You've changed my life. Wow, sounds good, man. Sounds good. But yeah, I know you're quite new to the exclusive, but no, welcome for sure. How did I stop strategy hopping? Conviction, belief, believing that not that this system is the best system, or not that your system is the best system, but that this is your system and that is the system that you trade. You don't look at anything else. Anything else is just noise. Right. All in on longs? What does that even mean? On what? Are you longing sodium? Are you longing salt or Himalayan salt? Because we can do that. um, I would say number one to stop strategy hopping, this is like one of the most common things I get, is backtest it for yourself. See the data for yourself. See the results for yourself. And then you have the data. Why would you strategy hop if you know it works, if you know it's proven, if you know it's backed up by data? Why would you? Right? There's many reasons, one of them being money driven. If somebody is money driven and all they care about is money, well, as soon as a strategy doesn't perform for like a week or a month, they hop. They hop again. And then what happens is you hop strategy and the strategy that you were trading starts performing again. And it's like a horrible cycle. It's a horrible cycle. Did the US daylight savings change? Absolutely, they changed on the 2nd of November. Have you been under a rock? Come on, guys. Yeah, that's a good point. Social media, guys. Unfollow as many people as possible. Reduce the noise, block out the noise. You don't need it. A lot of it is nonsense, right? And what happens is probably you start to look at a profitable system and then you go on TikTok and you start scrolling, or you go on YouTube and the algorithm's pretty good. The algorithm is pretty good at putting stuff in front of you that you may consume, right? And before you know it, you're 30 minutes into the best holy grail system, and you've already strategy hopped by that point. It doesn't have to break in the range. So this is a good point. So it can, sometimes it does. A lot of the time, it's going to close back in the range. So if this is your Asia high here, right? If this is your Asia high, what do? Well, we manipulate above, we close back inside the range, right? So the way that I like to think about this, right, is this is a deviation of the range. So this right here is your deviation, right? So this is your deviation. And then when we close back inside the range, which is not essential, but it often happens. When we close back inside, this is reclaiming the range. So we have a deviation and we have a reclaim. There's a million different explanations for this, whatever you want to call it, but that's how I see it. Range high, deviation, right here, back inside the range. Well, this probably should be the high of the day. This probably should be the high of the range, and then we should continue lower. That's the kind of assumption, right? We shouldn't really go ahead and break this high again, which is why the stop loss is here, right? Which is why the stop loss is here. We shouldn't then go ahead and break this high. Well, because this is going to be shifting from bearish price action, and we're going to be putting in bullish market structure, right? Because we have this high right here. So we have a high in the market followed by a higher low. So if we did break this high, we're going to have a second consecutive higher high in the market. That's bullish market structure. And so that's why I would not want to be in this market if we did do that. And that's why the stop loss is there. Right? Your stop loss needs to be like, where are you wrong? Like, where are you completely wrong on this trade? It's where it should be, right? And that's why it's there. And that is why it's there, right? So yeah, we're pretty chilling right here. Pretty chilling price action over here. Did NFP get released? No. NFP did not get released today. It was down as tentative, which meant it could have came out, but it did not. Maybe I need some music in here. Maybe we need some music in here. That's maybe what we need. No NFP, mess with my strategy. What do you mean by that? I use the Sonar Lab session indicator. It's this one right here. Trading sessions hyphen Sonar Lab. It's by view to trading. I like it. I like it. They all work. They all do the same thing, but I like this one. I've used it for years. It's kind of like one of those things, right? Just used it for so long. So long. Buy or sell? Come on, you got to be better than that. Buy or sell? What do you think? Come on, guys. That's hilarious. What does that even mean? Like buy or sell? Come on, guys. You need to be more specific. You need to ask the right questions. There's no silly questions, but like, come on. We need to be better than this. And the goal here is to make you better. Right? Yeah. I don't want people to use this as like a signal service. You know, yes, you're gonna see my exact executions and all of this, but come on, guys, buy or sell? Oh boy. Wow. So yeah, that's kind of like the beauty of this system, right? Where, you know, yes, we're on stream, but if you were working a full-time job or full-time education or whatever, well, you don't have to be staring at the markets here because you know you have an alert here, right? So that's why the chart time, you know, with a system, your chart time is like around, if you want it to be, right, is around 15 to 20 minutes a day of work, of trading work, right? So that's kind of like the beauty of this system, is it doesn't need much time, right? And yeah, this was kind of consolidated when I was on holiday. I was still trading. I wasn't doing any one-on-ones or anything. I was still trading and notifying the community, but um, I was trading literally in 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes of work, you know? And of course, I'm always there every single day, normally watching the sessions, right? So it was nice to see that, you know, even on holiday, I could still do this. So I think that's why we're growing so quick, right? A lot of people understand the value in this. A lot of people, I think, get that, you know, you can still have a life and you can still trade and you can still have a job. And that's how it should be, right? Even though I don't have much of a life, I spend so much of my time working and in the gym and drinking salt. Salt water, should I put. Yeah. Yeah, it does work on JPY pairs. I've heard pretty good success stories with like GJ, GBP JPY, Euro JPY. As we know, right, the JPY pairs trend very heavily. You know, so I don't personally trade these, but I have seen a lot of success with them from students, right? It's gonna be dead until 2:30, probably. Probably, right? Like as we know, we have the NYSE Open, right? We have the New York Stock Exchange Open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, right? This is often where a lot of the volume comes in. Not always, but often. Okay. And so what you find, certainly when I look back at my data and all of the trades that I've took like over the years, right, is if it's quiet now, it's probably going to be quiet until the NYSE Open. Again, not always, but often. And this is probably when we're going to get the next sort of injection of pressure or injection of volume into the market, right? Um, so yeah, but when I look at a lot of the trades that we took or that we take, a lot of them are sort of just after the open, right? Where what often happens is the NYSE Open will take out the pre-New York session. So any data before, right? So at the moment, this is like the pre-New York high and low, like right here. Often you find at the open, you're going to get a form of manipulation. Does that mean it has to go lower? No, but that's certainly what we're going to be looking for, right? So it's like if you're not positioned prior to the open, often the open is what will create the manipulation, again, because we get a lot of volume. And so that's sort of the expectation today, right? I thought maybe if NFP comes out, that is where the volume is going to come from. That's not the case. And so now it's kind of all eyes on the NYSE Open, right? It can be used on DAX. It can be used on DAX. DAX has been pretty well, pretty good in DAX has been pretty good in London. 2025 London, DAX has been pretty good. Pretty good. I've updated the Discord about the daylight savings. So if you want to check it out, check the Discord server, check the free analysis channel, scroll up, it's right there. It's right there. So if anybody's still unsure, check out the Discord. The link's pinned to this live stream. I've covered it about 50 times over the last couple of weeks, so I'm not going to do it again. Do I do top-down analysis? Not at all. I trade a one time frame system. What I found with top-down analysis is you often, well, it does two things. Top-down will basically, number one is it will reduce your number of trades. So this is number one. And I already get like around 3 trades a week. So I don't want to reduce my trades. I don't want to reduce the number of trades because it's already low. It's already 3. So because you're adding another parameter. So as soon as you add parameters, you add another, you're essentially adding more rules. This reduces the number of trades, right? Because you have more iterations, you have more kind of things that need to line up. And so the likelihood of them lining up is now lower, and that's why you get a reduced number, right? So this is number one. And number two, I found that I found no significant difference between using a higher time frame filter than just trading it based on a one time frame system. Okay, so I used to use something called time frame alignment, which means that you're going to look at like the 4-hour time frame, the 1-hour time frame, and you're going to match up them time frames with the 15-minute. And yeah, I just found there was like no significant difference, right, in terms of returns, in terms of percentage returns. And so I was like, well, I'm going to have less headache. I can just use one time frame. It's way simpler. Happy days. Happy days. It's great to have me here. It's great to have you here too. DAX performed well today. Let's have a look. Let's take a look. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. DAX did perform well today. Super clean. I mean, it's pretty similar to US 500, right? Where we are sell buyers, 50, 50, 100, 200 EMA, manipulation, very clear confirm, entry on the break of the low, invalidation, target lower. So this is pretty much the same as US 500, right? If we cross reference, they pretty much look the same, right? So yeah, you're right. Daxy Waxy was good today. The old Daxy Waxy. Yeah. Notice as well, we get like the false move before the session. Like you see that confirm, this first confirm, this is before the session. Before the session, right? So often you get a lot of false moves before the open. Certainly in London, right? Before the open, there's not much volume. You may think that there is, right? But there's not. And then we get the real volume coming in, right? What time is it? What do you mean by that? What time is it? Come on, guys. Check your phone. Check your clock. In the UK, it's 2 p.m. In the US, it's 9 a.m. Eastern. Oh, apparently ChatGPT was wrong today. Apparently ChatGPT was wrong today. It was saying that NFP was going to be released. um, good old ChatGPT. Okay. So yeah, we know that gold is not valid here. Like we know that this is not valid. Like yes, you could take this and yes, this could play out and whatever, right? But we know that there's a significant chance of this trade not playing out, right? Because of the choppy price action. Because we've had the break of the low, we've had the manipulation, buyers tried to step in, sellers took control, buyers tried to step in, sellers took control again. So the point is, if buyers are stepping in again, how do you know that this is not just a pullback before we have what has just happened twice in a row, which is buyers step in, lower low. So that's my concern. It's not an awful trade. Like if you take this on the break of this high, it's not an awful trade, but it's not an A plus trade. So it's important to know the difference, right? Pretty boring day, man. I think a lot of the action was in London. For sure, it was in London. This looks like it might have been the move of the day, but never say never because it's still only 9 a.m. Eastern. We haven't even seen the open yet, right? How to make sure trade in London or New York? What do you mean? Trade it. Trade within the zone. Trade within the window. Take trades during these times. If you want to check the session indicator, check out the free Discord. I've put it in the link's in the description. The link is in the chat. It's pinned to the top. Or you can do what Kobayati has said, and you can come to the private and learn. But you don't have to. You don't need to, right? But you can. It's an option. It's an option, right? But you don't need to. You know, I'm going to be live on here. I'm still going to be sharing stuff on YouTube. But you can if you want. Can someone tell me how this XP stuff works? So apparently I have like, there's people with XP in here. Is that based on like how many times people comment? Is that how this works? People get XP? That's pretty cool. Happy to hear it. Happy to hear it. What are you guys up to this weekend? That's the question. What are you up to? Are you chilling? Are you working? What are you up to? What's the crack? What's the situation? Any discount? No. Straight up no. I don't do discount on my services. I believe in the value that I provide. I believe in everything that is included. So I never offer discounts. I wish. No, I don't wish I could offer discounts because when you believe in what you provide, you don't need to offer discounts, right? Often when someone provides a discount, it's often because they don't believe in the value, right? Man U Spurs, that's a big game. That's a big game. Are you supporting any of them, or are you just a neutral? A neutral. What's the best platform for back testing? There's a few. There's a few. If you just want to like dive straight in, TradingView bar replay works. That's probably like the easiest place to start. Bar replay, TradingView, just get stuck in. Just get stuck in. Oh, jiu-jitsu? All right, now we're talking. Now we're talking. I need to get back into fighting. I do Muay Thai. I do Muay Thai. I need to get back into it. I need to get back into it. I've been running and gymming, but I've not been fighting. I need to keep fighting. Just like we need to keep fighting on the charts, right? Man U Spurs, that's a juicy game for sure. You believe me, but your pockets don't. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, this may be a no trading day, guys, or no trading session, right? Obviously, we had the setup in London, but this is looking pretty rough, right? Oh, this level, this is just the Asia low. So we have the Asia. Oh, I've put this as Asia high. Apologies, guys. Surprised nobody said anything. This is the Asia low. We know that there's a lot of liquidity resting below here. So there's going to be a lot of sell stops. There's going to be a lot of people that, if they're long in Asia or long in London, they're going to have stops below here. So this is just basically a point of interest, right? And we need to see that taken out before we can even think about maybe getting long in this market, right? This will also induce a lot of traders short. So they're going to see this as like a breakout below the Asia low. So they're going to get short. And that is sort of the fuel that we can use in order to get long. Because as we know, most people lose money in these markets. Most traders are often on the wrong side of the markets. And so we can take advantage of that, right? That's the Asia low. Yeah, if anybody's thinking that NFP is coming out, it's not. It's not coming out today. How do you get to be so disciplined? I mean, a lot of it for me is like, I need to lead by example. I need to lead by example, right? So if I do not follow my plan, if I do not follow my own rules, well, how can I expect you to? If I deviate from my plan, if I do not follow the rules, well, so will you. So will you, right? So a lot of it for me is I have a duty to follow the plan, right? Often why some people don't follow the plan is because they don't have any skin in the game as well. So this is another thing, right? As soon as somebody has skin in the game, they pay attention. But if you're in like a million discords, 50 different telegrams, you don't have any skin in the game in any of these. So that's also another thing. Do I go live every day? So like in the exclusive, I send my exact trade plans, game plans, executions, but I mainly go live around New York because that's really when a lot of that's when most of the setups happen. They happen in New York. They happen around the open. So yeah, but I do trade London and New York every day, and so I share all of my analysis. Right? Cool. 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 I'm gonna wrap this up. Right? We've been going for just over an hour. I think this is a decent first stream. Like, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for asking questions. I really, really appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure to join the free Discord. Right, the free Discord. I'll put a link to it. This is where you're going to get like the most up-to-date information. And also, if anybody is interested, if anybody wants to take your trading to the next level, maybe you can check out my website as well. As I said, you don't have to, you don't need to, right? It's an option. It's an option. Okay. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the support. Let's keep pushing. Stay disciplined, right? Don't overtrade. It's a Friday. It's a Friday, right? Don't give back the profits. Do not give back the profits, right? Stay disciplined. And if and only if a trade presents, then execute, but don't force anything on a Friday. Please do not force anything, right? All right. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Have a great weekend. Look after yourselves, socialize, get out and about. Take care, guys. Bye bye. Peace out.